very much, Shannon. It's great to see so many of you here that are interested in ethics. I am glad to be here. At my age, I'm glad to be anywhere. So I am glad to be here this morning. And hopefully I can use the words of Will Rogers, who once said, we could certainly slow the aging process down if we had to work its way through Congress. Or state legislature, maybe either one. As you know, Oklahoma is a place of endless opportunity, hard work, ethics, and grit, and the determination to build this great state. I could not be prouder than to be a member of the state of Oklahoma. I will tell you a little history, background. I started in the staffing business in another state up in the Northwest called the state of Washington. After 2 years in the business, I almost exited out side left because of the ethics of that business and that industry in that state. But my theory was, after a while, that if you have ethics in business, you'll succeed faster and better than those who don't. After 3.5 years, they transferred me to Oklahoma City. We purchased a service here in Oklahoma City, and come to find out we had probably the most unethical person maybe in the nation here in Oklahoma City as well. It took about 5 years for us to get him out of business. And I think he went into bankruptcy 3 times after that. But ethics in business for me was probably the most important issue if I'm going to be in business. Because my degrees, of course, were in theology, and I don't want to be politically incorrect. I'm going to be politically correct today and tell you, without biblical principles, I'm not sure where our kids are going to find any principles in life. And biblical principles are extremely important, not only to Oklahoma, but they're important to the nation that we believe and we trust in America. We do have on our building, God Bless America. Somebody will sue us. And I'm sorry about the lawyers in the room. And I'm glad to see some of you are here that are trying to attempt to learn ethics. Sorry about that, Jennifer. Sorry, Jim. But certainly integrity and strong ethics in the workforce and with our business leaders continues to define Oklahoma, because I think we have some of the finest ethical leaders in the nation. I don't know if you saw Scott on the Fox and Friends this morning, Scott Pruitt. As you know, he was my baseball partner and general manager before he went to Washington, D.C. But certainly, I think he has the opportunity, if he stands for the ethics that he stood for when he was here, he has an opportunity to help this country to be what we would like for it to be. Thank you for inviting me here today. I don't do these much of anymore because of my age, but my background, of course, was degrees in theology. And your question probably is, why didn't you stay there? The answer was that there was always a great awakening at the end of every service. So I'm going to watch and see which one of you go to sleep today that are out there. But certainly, it is important that we have and we impact with strong values in the systems in our businesses. I did co-found Express 35 years ago because of our core values of integrity, teamwork, and great people. And I'm proud to introduce to you some of the greatest people in Oklahoma. Cindy Fairchild has been with me 37 years. Susan's been with me 28 or 29. Karen's been with me 20. But the reason that we have been so successful is because of our great people and their great value systems. The value systems are extremely important, particularly when you're awarding franchisees all over this country and in South Africa as well. Because values make up a good business, or it makes a bad business if you don't have them, and it's extremely important. These core beliefs are firmly in place in our company as we develop our offices all over the country and all over the world. Today we are the largest franchise staffing company in America. We're also the largest light industrial office services company in North America. And I believe it's due to the fact that we select the franchisees. Matter of fact, the franchisees always ask, what does it really take to be successful in the staffing industry? And I believe there's three things that make us successful. Number one is integrity first. It is irreplaceable if you don't have integrity in your business. Number two, of course, it's hard work. And if you can't work hard, then you're probably not going to be that successful. And of course, the third thing for our franchisees is they follow the system that we designed for them to be successful. And we're extremely proud of the fact that we do have those ethics in our business. And our goal is to put 1 million people to work. We're only halfway there. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to hurry up because I'm getting up to the age where I want to see the 1 million come to fruition. I think this year we're on track for 600,000, and hopefully in the next couple of years we'll be able to put 1 million people to work on an annualized basis. We put a little over 500,000 Oklahomans to work since we started Express. And we do look for the people who have ethics, values, hard work, good work ethic, and of course are willing to pay the price in order to be successful. We believe in giving people the hand up rather than the hand out. I've often said to the press when they ask us about our company, the best social program in America is a job. People who have jobs are more successful in their lives, their families are more successful, their marriages are more successful. In most ways, they're more successful if they've had an opportunity to find enjoyable work that they love and they enjoy. We've realized, of course, that many of them have the American dream. I started out by thinking about the American dream when I was 18 years old. I told my boss, I would like to be in the ministry, I would like to be in business, and I would like to be an entrepreneur, and I'd also like to be a rancher. Being born and raised on a farm at the age of 14, I really did enjoy the ranching business. And I will tell you, one of the reasons I enjoy the ranching business today, and Gerald Callahan can tell you, that the reason I enjoy the ranching business is because of the ethics of ranchers. Ranchers have a high degree of ethics. We have sold about $250 million worth of cattle over the last 25 years, and our accounts receivable have been less than $1 million. They sign no contracts. They just come and sign their name on a card so that we can send them a bill or an invoice, and they pay their bills. It's enjoyable doing business with other people who have ethics and have integrity in business. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And I had a dream that I could do all three things at the same time when I was 18 years old. Now, I will tell you that my boss told me that I was a dreamer, that I was really off base, and that I'd never be able to accomplish it. But thanks to some great people that had great ethics, we were able to do that. One of the companies in Seattle that we were competing with had terrible ethics. They sold franchises all over America, and I believe at one time they had 600. But their theory was, if we can just sell that franchise, and if they'll go broke, resell the franchise territory again, and that's really how we'll make our money and how we'll be successful. That's really not ethics in my belief, in my pattern of being in business. It's better when someone else is successful than when we're successful ourselves. And we do tell our franchise prospects when they come in, if you ever have to look at the contract that you have with us as a franchisor or a franchisee, then we're not the right company for you to belong to, because we need to give you more than what we ever put on the contract. To me, that's ethics. To me, that's important, that we help them to be successful more than helping ourselves to be successful. When I was growing up, I believed in the code of the West, which we call cowboy ethics. I'd like to share with you a few of those. According to cowboy ethics, they say basically they are these 10 things. Live each day with courage, do what has to be done, always finish what you start, take pride in your work, be tough but fair, keep any promise you make, ride for the brand, take less and say more, remember that some things aren't for sale, and know where you draw the line. I've always considered the staffing industry as a staffing ministry, because we have people come to us on a daily basis, thousands of them, that are looking for hope and encouragement that they're going to find the right opportunities in their lives. Our job in the staffing industry is to minister to them as best we can to help them to fulfill their dreams in their lives. I will tell you, when I started into the staffing business, I was counseling every single person that came in. The boss finally came to me after about a year and he said, "Bob, we do have to make a profit in this business." And so I would counsel them after hours and on Saturdays, because we did have to make a profit, of course, but we also had an obligation to help people to fulfill their dreams rather than our own dreams. That's what the staffing ministry is really all about. And so we look for opportunities to give people hope, encouragement, and of course, ethics in being in business. Unfortunately, in business, sometimes we see the bad things in ethics in business rather than good ones. Fortunately, in Oklahoma, we have some great companies with great ethics, with great people. It's different. And for those of you who are not from other parts of the country, it's probably hard for you to understand. But if you lived where I lived for years, and then come to this part of the country and see the great people with great integrity and great ethics, you could be thankful the rest of your life, of which I am. We believe, of course, that ethics is really important for our franchisees. The second one was keep any promise that you make. When the company that moved me down here, I was with them for 17 years. Everything was going wonderfully well. Oklahoma City was #1 in executive recruiting. We were #1 in permanent placement. We were #1 in temporary help in that whole company, a chain of 84 offices. I brought my manager together one night because the owner of the company, who had spoke here at Rotary, had not done a very good job. And I'd heard his speech many times. And his wife came to me the next morning and he said, "You know, something must be wrong with Bill." And Bill, by the way, was a very fine Christian. I could trust him no matter what he had to say to me, that he would fulfill it. The next morning we find out that he had a brain tumor at the age. His son takes over, who was an accountant with Arthur Young. And by the end of that fall, of course, Penn Square Bank had gone under on July the 4th of this was September of '82, and interest rates were 20%, unemployment was 14%. Great time to start a company. But his son took over and fired all 4 of us vice presidents within about a month of each other. A lesson for each one of you, as was a lesson for us at the time. Remember, the higher your salary, the better chance you have of getting fired. They were trying to cut the overhead, of course, and then the son put it into bankruptcy 3 months later. But the point was that I gathered all my managers together. I had 5 offices in Oklahoma City, 1 in Tulsa, and I gathered them together, and I said, "You know, I'll be gone on Monday morning." And they said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I have no idea. I planned on working for this gentleman the rest of my life. He just was a wonderful person to work for." I left the room, go to the restroom, came back, and one of the managers stood up and said, "We have decided where we're going on Monday morning." And I said, "Great, what are you going to do?" And they said, "Well, wherever you go, we go." I said, well, you aren't very smart because I have no idea where I'm going. But they were serious. And I said, are you serious? And they said, we are serious. Wherever you go, we go. It's that kind of loyalty, integrity, and ethical people that make a difference in any company. And that was the start, out of the ashes of that other company, to start Express. I felt the obligation to take care of my employees that were taking care of me. Cindy was here at the time. She understood the experience because, of course, the oil smash at that time. Bank loans were hard to find. I had $5,000 to my name. They owed me $72,000 in bonuses, but I didn't ask them for it because I thought that they had some difficulty from a financial perspective. We were doing well in Oklahoma City. They just weren't doing well in some other parts of the country. But these people had loyalty, dedication to me and to the company for us to be able to restart that company. Fortunately, through a small bank in Piedmont that loaned me $150,000 to try and get through the window. And so we started all over again. But we started with one thing, integrity. Second of all, professionalism. And third of all, of course, following the system like we knew that we should. We had to be compassionate with our employees that we had. We had to be compassionate with other people in Oklahoma with 14% unemployment who are having a difficult time in their lives, to tell them the truth of what was happening and which jobs are available for them. Well, we certainly were able to do that because we had great people with great ethics. The third thing with cowboy ethics is to take pride in your work. Another way we embody our values is by celebrating and rewarding the great work and the great loyalty of our people. I just got back Sunday from taking 270 of our franchisees on a bonus trip to Hawaii. And then we took 44 more of them over to another island in Hawaii to reward them for doing a great job for this company. Because without great people, you don't have a great company. And without great ethics, you don't have a great company either. Because we know from our competitors that many of them have not had that over the years, and that's why we have legislation in so many states. But we believe that we have extraordinary people, and the only way you can measure your company is by the quality and the ethics of the individuals that you hire. I will tell you, over the years, I've seen many companies come. I've seen many companies go. The ones who come are the ones who have hired great people with great values and great ethics. The ones who go are the ones who don't. And you could say, well, what about great ideas that come along? A company with great ideas without great people is never going to be successful. But a company with great people, and maybe the ideas aren't as great as we think they are, will always be successful, always. A great example, I'll just give you one over the years. I used to place a lot of people with IBM when I worked a desk myself. IBM, as you know, are there anyone here that's working for IBM before I make the comments? IBM, as you know, has not had the best hardware the last 25 years. Not the best hardware, not the best software in the industry. But what do they have that makes them successful every year? They do have the best people because they hire the right kind of people that have ethics and have integrity and have values. You can trust them. If they tell you they'll do something for you, they will. And that's the important thing with IBM, is that they've been able to suffer through all of the technology craze and still be very successful and very profitable because of their people. And so they do, IBM people do take pride in their work. They take pride in everything that they do, and it shows up in the service that they give us. We also regularly, in our industry, recognize those who work for us, the associates. We do have an Associate of the Month out of the 510,000 employees last year. We did reward some of these employees on a local basis, and I think this gentleman on a national basis as the best employee that we have in Express. And his name is Mike Black, and he's done a great job, of course, and we recognized him in front of our 2,000 franchisees at our national conference. But the key is, Mark, that he is an ethical person, and that Mike is a very integrity-oriented person and does a great job on a regular basis with that company. We also acknowledge, of course, that we must give back to our communities. I happen to believe that if I weren't responsible to the board of directors, I'd love to give all of our money away. But you don't dare do that, especially in your private business. You like some of it, Jim? I have given Jim some money in the past. But certainly our job is to give back to our community. You cannot outgive yourself. It's impossible to not give enough. And it goes back to the old biblical principle. If you remember the principle of the talents that Christ talked about, where the more they gave, the more they got back in return. You don't give it because you want something back in return. You give it because you want to give to help someone else to fulfill their fruits in life and not ourselves. But you can't outgive yourself, because giving will bring back tenfold, and that's scriptural as well. It'll bring back tenfold to you if you're willing to give rather than take. And the takers usually don't succeed very long in business. So the fourth issue is cowboy ethics. And cowboy ethics is remember that some things aren't for sale. Let me ask you a question. What is the value of your ethics? What is the value of your ethics? You cannot put a price on it. It is not for sale, and it can't be priced. And because your integrity is worth a lot more than any amount of money that you might ever make in your lifetime. And it'll pay off great dividends if you have it. But it can never be for sale. If you don't have ethics in your business, as my boss who passed away said, you're like a ship without a rudder. You're going to go every which direction if you don't have ethics in your business. Because when you're making some of those conflicting decisions that Jim talked about today, there are times when you've got to hold firm on your ethics and on your value system as you're making a decision. Sure, you may lose some money. I've lost a lot of money over the years in making decisions that I thought were the right decisions, not necessarily the financially best decision, but the right decision in dealing with your customers or dealing with other people. It's extremely important that we follow our ethics and we follow our integrity. Recently, we at Express commissioned a report that looked at the U.S. employment data and the emerging trends that we have in our country. The study was conducted through the Harris Research on the state of the unemployed in America. You might be surprised at some of the findings that we found in this data. The labor force participation rate is still extremely low in our country, 62.9 to be exact. And that means roughly 37% of the people who are working age are not working. That's more than 1 out of 3. Secondarily, 29% of the people who are unemployed have college degrees, up from 19% in 2015. Not to mention that many of them have debt for their degrees that they'll never get paid off. The average length of time that someone is unemployed, according to this survey, is 2 years. 2 years. The unemployed spend an average of only 13 hours per week looking for a job. Interestingly enough, considering the survey results mentioned, 83% are confident that they will find a reasonable job sometime. 33% have given up on looking for work altogether. 67% have no plans to acquire training and new skills in order to get a job. 67%, 2/3 of them are not willing to be retrained. And this is a challenge for us in our industry to try and encourage them to get more training so that we can find them that job that they would like to have. There's a huge disconnect today in seeing between the actual effort required to find work and the level of confidence that they will find work. It just doesn't add up in our current market today. To learn more, we recently hosted 2 focus groups in Chicago. The first focus group included Express franchisees from all over the United States and Express client companies who employ our employees. The second focus group included 20 people who have been unemployed for a long time. This group varied in age, ethnicity, work experience, education, and certifications. Here's what we learned from the employer group about the issues they are facing what they need from today's employees. First of all, there is a huge skills gap in America and in skilled trades. Skilled trades are jobs which require specific training, such as carpenters, tile setters, electricians, and so forth. As an example, one employer said that there's a growing need for contract carpet installers in Chicago. They told us a customer could wait 9 months to get a carpet installed. Have enough employees. When asked what they want from the job for applicants and potential employees, they told us they want to see a willingness to take entry-level work and work their way up to a higher paying position. And we do see this as a challenge. Oftentimes they come out with a degree, if you will, and expect to come in at a high salary. They also want job seekers that'll learn new skills to increase their value, and we're encouraging them all to get other skills that they can transfer over into a job or an opportunity that they would like to have. They also needed employees who were dependable and showed up for work on time. Have you heard that one? We do have a challenge in the staffing industry of our employees showing up on time or showing up at all. You would be surprised at those who come in begging for a job at 4:30 one afternoon and won't show up for the job the next morning. Additionally, employees must be attentive, less focused on the smartphones. They should smile and connect with other workers, engage in work and be a part of a team. That's a challenge in the markets today. The employers needed job seekers who can pass the drug screen. Let me tell you, there's too many potential candidates who cannot pass the drug screen. I believe the survey, if you read the Wall Street Journal this morning, said that 4.3% of all employees in America cannot pass a drug screen in order to get a job. I will tell you that one of our offices in the state of Washington that has legalized the marijuana issue, one office told me 70% of the employees in that office cannot apply and cannot fill a job. 70%. I've been really amazed, to be candid with you, that we're trying to outlaw cigarettes, but we're trying to in-law marijuana smoking. That doesn't make any sense to me. But that's happening all over this country. And of course, they were trying to do that here in Oklahoma as well. When asked about the unemployed group, what they would like to see in their next employer, they want a respectful boss. And I think that's extremely important. They want a boss who has integrity, who has ethics, and who cares for them as a person. They also said they'd like to have flexibility. And we're not talking about home flexibility. They want an employer to be flexible when life happens, and we all have challenges in our lives when we're working for someone. This flexibility is especially important for single parents. And I did institute of our company this last spring, the fact that we do pay child care for every single employee we have in the company. Because those single parented mothers, think about it a little deeper. those single-parented mothers, why are they working? They're working for their children. They're working for their kids. It's one of our moral responsibilities, I think, to help these single-parented mothers who the fathers have disappeared on them, to have an opportunity to help their children to have a better place to work. And so we do as employers have a moral responsibility to our employees, and certainly an ethical responsibility. Additionally, unemployed members of the focus group were looking to their next boss to do one thing: just show appreciation. Just show me some appreciation for the job that I do. So don't forget to thank your employees for what they do and what they do well. It's extremely important. More important than money, by the way. If you do any surveys of any of the associates that we talk to anyway, money is not the issue. It may have been when they just got out of college because they think they're going to be a millionaire overnight, but that's really not what life is really all about. It's about the relationship of their boss and the relationship the company gives to them. They know that employers need to work for their maybe less money, but they certainly are willing to sacrifice less money to find a good company that they want to work for. They want somebody who's ethical, is one of the other issues they said, that they can bring them closer together as a team and work together as a team. They want to be with people that care about them and they care about the other person. Conversely, job seekers and new employees can make positive impressions by showing respect to their employers as well, of course. And what does respect look like? It's showing up on time, putting down the smartphone, smiling, and paying and being a team player. I believe that the acronym for team is together, everyone achieves more. And if you aren't playing together as a team, and there are situations where you get self-centered employees that'll rip your organization apart if they are self-centered, if they're not playing together as a team. Teamwork is extremely important, not only in athletics, but in business as well. We do know that we have some social issues in our country that are not going to go away. There are many people living in poverty or just not learning life skills and work ethic due to their circumstances. Addiction rates, drug use continues to rise, which contributes to the lack of drive and the lack of understanding to better their chances for employment and careers in their lives. It's not easy, but we cannot give up on these people because of who we are and our ethics and our integrity of being in business. We must remember that everyone has an inherent dignity and each person is worthy of our respect and our assistance. We have to continue to have faith in them, be willing to help them to learn, be available to give them a hand up and not a hand out. We must continue to work together to close the skills gap and put more people back to work. And that's one of the objectives of our company, is to do that. Despite the challenges we face, I still believe that America, and especially Oklahoma, is the land of opportunity, and anyone who wants to work hard enough can attain their American dreams. Why? Because I've seen it happen time and time again in Oklahoma. We have some of the most wonderful people in Oklahoma. We have great risk takers, some of it due, of course, to the oil industry. We have great risk takers in Oklahoma that are willing to put the hard work behind it in order for them to be successful. I've seen families restore their financial strength and their confidence in not only Oklahoma, but in themselves and in their families. I've witnessed young people filling with pride, knowing that their contributions to a company are building a great future for themselves. I've experienced the sheer joy of men and women who work hard and realize their dreams. During my lifetime, the American worker has always prevailed and has never given up hope that there's a greater dream and a greater opportunity out for them. Since our nation was founded, our American ingenuity and strong work ethic and our ethics has defined us as a country and as a state. It has shone like a beacon for all the world to see over these years, providing a guiding light to those who sought a better life for themselves and a better life for their families. I believe when you do what's right, everything else will turn out right as well. But what about now? Is the dream gone? Is the light out in America? A few years ago, we did try to answer that question. So we did put out a survey across the country. We commissioned it by Harris Nielsen, an organization to learn whether Americans still believe in the American dream. We surveyed more than 2,000 Americans 18 years and older. Both native-born and immigrants were included in the survey as well. First, we asked, what is the American dream? What do you see as the American dream? The overwhelming majority of the respondents defined the American dream as owning a home and earning enough money to have some free time. But did they still believe that it was possible? That was the next question. They did. In fact, 86% of the respondents believed the American dream can still be achieved. Even though there was a concern about the economy at the time, the vast majority of the individuals remained optimistic about our country and optimistic about our state. They had faith. They had faith that the American dream is possible for every single person as long as they work hard and apply themselves with great integrity and with great ethics. Many people equate the American dream as owning a home and having free time. Those things are actually just the products of the American dream. But what really is the American dream itself? The American dream is really about hope. Hope. I believe a person without hope is a ship without a rudder. I did write a book called Doctor of Hope for those who might want the opportunity to see that hope is important, maybe more important than anything else to achieve the American dream. If I had not had the hope when I was 18 years old, we would not be here today. The hope and the dream that we could do it, and the aspiration, the possibilities, with dedication and hard work, it all could be achieved. At Express, we talk a lot about hope and about faith. I don't believe there's anything more powerful. When you provide someone with the training to find a good job, you provide opportunity and you provide hope. When we provide the person with a job, we restore their faith in their community and give them hope that there's a brighter future for they and their families. It was faith that brought me to Oklahoma so many years ago. It was hope that kept me going, a hope that one day Express would put 1 million people to work annually. And every year, of course, we're moving closer to that goal. When we found work for more than 500,000 in 2016, we touched the lives not only of the 500,000 individuals. When you think about it, that touched the lives of 3 or 4 other people. So we basically touched the lives of 2 million people last year in America. I hope we can get to the 1 million employees and touch 4 million a year. Our industry, to give you a little quip, our industry last year employed 16 million people. If you multiply that times the 3 or 4, that means that we gave hope and encouragement to basically 72 million people in America. That's 22% of the total employees and the total people in America. 22% of Americans were touched by our industry. And of course, we would like to be a bigger portion of that. When you employ someone, you immediately improve the quality of their life and their family's life. Secure families mean stronger and more vibrant communities as well. And the stronger the communities we have, it leads to a stronger nation. The best programs are those which we give people the opportunity to work and provide for their families. That's the Express dream. At Express, we build on that dream. We believe in what we do, and we love what we do for others. The king of cowboy ethics, Will Rogers, once said, if you want to be successful, it's just this simple. Know what you're doing, love what you're doing, and believe in what you're doing. A strong system of values and ethics and ethical standards is critical, I believe, for any business to stay in business. Whether you're riding off into the sunset or wrangling up in a board meeting, you must remember to live each day by the courage of your convictions. As we move ahead, you have my word that Express's values will continue to guide together forever, whether I'm here or not. And Express strong ethical standards will be upheld and will be celebrated in the future. We are going to put 1 million people to work annually, and we better hurry up because I'm getting too old to see it happen. But we will do it with ethics, integrity, and we will do it to the best of our ability to help as many people as possible find their dreams and their American dreams. And that's what ethics, I believe, is all about. Thank you very much for being here and appreciate your interest in being ethical. Thank you.